that the best way to decide whether or not tarot is real would be to tally up how often a reader makes accurate predictions. But that method ignores the fact that tarot cards are said to reflect the current energy, and that free will holds the ability to affect the outcome. Furthermore, that method would not prove whether or not each card is a sign with individual significance. To determine that, we would want to repeatedly observe where and when certain cards appear and make note of what happens when they do. Over time, this method could reveal any correlation between the defined meaning of the card and the life circumstances that coincide with its appearance. Of course, the logistics of conducting such research with traditional tarot readings is rather impossible. But did you know that every playing card has a tarot meaning? Both decks were invented around the same time, and those who could not afford tarot decks used playing cards for the same purpose. I didn't know that or believe in tarot when I first began to see meaning in the cards while playing poker. But fate led me to discover a book on fortune telling with playing cards, which confirmed the meanings of the two cards that I felt were speaking to me. And eventually, I came to realize that observing where and when those cards appeared in poker hands and making note of what happens when they show up could lead to some measure of confirmation that there are indeed signs in the cards. Although sources disagree somewhat on the precise meaning of each tarot card, all seem to agree that the Ace, 10, and 9 of spades are three of the most grim or tumultuous cards in the deck. Some call them unlucky, but I call them the most transformative cards because each signifies a slightly different phase of an upheaval or big change, the type which sometimes feels unlucky but can lead to good things. Sources also agree that the 9 and 10 of hearts are two of the luckiest cards in the deck. And so I am tracking where and when the Ace, 10, and 9 of spades and the 10 and 9 of hearts appear, and making note of what happens when they show up. If their meanings are real, these 5 cards should show up often when the pre-flop mathematical favorite does not win the hand, because luck transformed the outcome. We may even find that the 9 and 10 of hearts frequently appear at the moment the odds flip in favor, and that the Ace, 10, and 9 of spades appear often in all-in hands, which are the biggest change one can seek in a Texas Hold'em hand. Of course, then the question is, what should we consider to be often? Calculating the odds a single card will show up at any given moment is easy. That's 1 divided by 52 cards, or 0.01923, a little less than 2% of the time. Calculating the odds any one of 5 selected cards will show up in a hand of Texas Hold'em is a bit more complicated, especially because the number of players at a table will vary, and the odds go up with every person dealt into the hand. Of course, no matter how many players are seated at a poker table, often only 2 or 3 will play their hand to the flop and beyond. Therefore, if we do not count cards that are folded pre-flop, we can use the probability that 5 pre-selected cards will appear in 2 or 3-handed play as the baseline for how often they should be expected to show up. But how do we calculate that? We calculate the odds that only the other 47 cards in the deck will appear, and subtract it from 1, because our answer is the opposite percentage. In order to do that, we need to determine the number of ways that 9 cards can be chosen from 47, and divide it by the number of ways 9 cards can be chosen from 52. According to ChatGPT, this tells us there is an 89.6% probability that none of the 5 cards will show up in the hand, and therefore a 10.4% chance that at least one of them will appear during heads-up play. The odds go up to about 30% if 3 players see the flop. So far, in the hands I've analyzed, 62% have contained at least one of the 5 cards in question. And the pre-flop mathematical favorite has won only 61% of hands. Assuming the luckiest and most transformative cards continue to show up far more often than expected, and the pre-flop mathematical favorite continues to win only the bare minimum or less of the expected amount of the time, would this be enough to convince you that tarot cards have meaning? Or is there something else that you think I should track? Press subscribe and sign up now to be notified next time I post a video about one of the most exciting hands I've analyzed to date. And stay tuned for statistics updates and to see what other methods I come up with for gaining additional information from the data I've already gathered. Thanks for watching. Until next time, have fun playing Texas Hold'em.